Hi guys, I've just done something for the first time that I've wanted to do for quite a while here in the woods. It's a new technique that I've learnt. That is how to encourage a hazel tree to multiply, to grow sort of new trees, new saplings really. And basically what you do is you take a young sapling that's already growing up from the base of the hazel. This is fairly young, and first of all you bend it to test it how flexible it is. If it's not flexible enough to go bend right down to the ground, then you leave that and you find a younger sapling. And what you do is, once you've tested that and once that sapling will bend to the ground, take a sharp knife and you simply shave off some of the bark, as you can see here, from the top, and just a tiny layer of the wood. You don't want to go too deep, because obviously when you cut into a tree, essentially you are damaging it. So you don't want to cut too deep, you just shave some of the bark off. What that does is it will make the tree more flexible, because the bark is really, because it's hard and it's tight, that's what makes the tree a lot less flexible. So you take off some of the bark, be careful not to cut too deep. Then what you do is I'll follow the branch down the sapling. You then want to place the sapling onto the ground, as you can see. As you can see, if you go along there, that's a growth that's coming from the very end of the sapling. What you do is, once you've got the sapling on the ground, you just dig or scratch really. I just scratched with a stick, another piece of hazel. You scratch a very shallow trough. As you can see, the trough runs straight along here. Very shallow trough of earth, and then you lay your hazel sapling in that trough, and then just at some periods here, you take again your sharp knife, you just scrape. Hope you can see that properly. You just scrape some of the bark from the top, the bark that's facing upwards. Okay, so you expose some of the wood, just a tiny bit, by scraping off the bark. And then if you come along a little further, you can see I've done the same again here. Expose the tree, expose the sapling by scraping off the bark. And then once you've done that, you want to push the sapling down into your trough so that it's in the soil, it's actually in contact with the soil. And then once you've done that, you simply want to use some pegs. This is just a piece of hazel that was laying on the ground. Make some pegs, and those pegs are simply to hold the sapling in place. And there you can see 3 pegs there. That's one. That one's a bit loose actually. Let's push that in some more. There you go. And those pegs will hold the sapling in place. And eventually what will happen, well hopefully, because I haven't done this, this is the first time I've done this, but what should eventually happen is that where you've exposed some of the wood by scraping off the bark, as long as it's in contact with loose soil, so you can put some loose soil around it, eventually what will happen is where you've exposed that wood, you'll get a brand new hazel sapling growing up. Because what happens is, on the underneath of the sapling, the part of the sapling that's in contact with the soil, that will root. You'll get little roots coming out of the bottom, and then where you've exposed the top of the sapling to the soil, to the air rather, by scraping off bark, that's where you'll get a brand new little sapling growth. And that's the way that you encourage the hazel to grow more. Now obviously hazel is a fantastic tree for coppicing. You simply chop the main trunk down after a couple of years, and then you'll get several saplings growing up from the main root system. But this is an excellent way, a very old way of encouraging the hazel to actually spread outwards from the main root system. So you can have one hazel tree, but if you were to bend many saplings from out from that main hazel tree, you can create lots more over a greater space. And if I take you back up to where this sapling is, there's the bend that I've exposed slightly to make it more flexible. And well, that's the main trunks of this hazel. As you can see, there are lots and lots of trunks, hazel trunks, separate trees coming up from that one root system. That's because at some point somebody has cut down the main trunk that was growing, and then you've got lots and lots of other trunks growing up. So there you go. It's the first time, as I said, it's the first time I've ever done this. I've been studying how to do it for a couple of weeks, but obviously until you actually do something and see the results, you don't know how it's going to turn out. So there you go. It's quite a simple process. I'm going to be really interested in coming back to see if it actually works. There you go again, there's the pegs holding it in place. The shallow trough running there that I scratched out of the earth. There's a peg holding the part in place that I've exposed, you can just see there. In fact, what I might do is put another peg across there, just to make that a little bit more secure. I'll put it going this way. It's not rocket science, you know. It's no great technique. You literally just break off a piece of hazel, push it into the ground tight against the sapling that's in the ground, and there you go. Now that is firm in the ground. You don't have to push it hard down into the trough. You just need to make sure that it's actually making contact with the soil. And hopefully that works, folks, and hopefully in a few months maybe I'll be able to make another video and show you if it's worked.